I'm back with another video about breakfast that we eat regularly in our home. You guys all seem to like my previous video. If you haven't seen that one, make sure you're subscribed to my channel and also check for the link in the description box down below. But today I'm going to be sharing a few things from some that are very, very simple to something a little bit harder, but it's all really delicious and something that you can keep on hand and use throughout the week or even freeze ahead of time and be able to pull out at the last minute when you need a nice warm breakfast for your family. So let's go ahead and dive into all of these new recipes. First up is probably the easiest of the bunch because I did not even make this from scratch. I made these gluten-free sheet pan pancakes using a mix. So our family is gluten-free because several of us have some dietary issues, and so I just used this gluten-free pancake and waffle mix that I found at my local grocery store. And I kept it completely vegan or dairy-free by substituting oil for butter, and then we used almond milk instead of regular cow milk. And that is how I made this so that everyone in our family could eat it. I added in berries, organic frozen berries, on one half, and I just kind of sprinkled them all over. I didn't really try very hard at all. I honestly just sprinkled them, tried to make sure there were enough on the pan. And you can go really heavy with this or really light. You can use any kind of berry. You could even use other things like apples or peaches or things like that. Banana would be great. And then on the other half, I found these really great chocolate chips. These are from Enjoy Life, and they're free of the major allergens, and they don't have a lot of sugar in them. And so we use these when we need a little sweet something fun for our pancakes. So I did kind of half slightly healthier and the other half with the, chocolate chips, which just makes it a little bit fun for the kids, which of course they wanted the chocolate chips more than the blueberries. I just lightly sprinkled those chocolate chips. I really didn't put a lot. The batter was pretty thick. I know it's hard to tell, but I just put a few chocolate chips on the top. And then I went ahead and baked it at 425 for about 15 minutes, but it is going to completely depend on your oven. So I would definitely check it at about 15 minutes and then see if it needs to go a little bit longer. So that's it. It is so simple. You can use any kind of pancake mix that you like. There's no special one that you need to use, and you can put any kind of toppings that you want in it. And then you let it cool for a little bit and then just cut it into squares. And you can serve it with whatever you want, maple syrup, butter, whatever you use in your home, but it tastes really good without anything as well. This is super simple, and since it makes such a huge batch, we had a lot left over in the end, and so I was able to just hang on to that and use it the next day, and I just heated it up for the kids, and it was delicious. Okay, this next item is easy granola, and it is so incredibly easy. You can see here I have it in my recipe binder, which I've shared in a previous video, and it is so incredibly simple to make. It looks like there's a lot of instructions, but it's really, really easy. And then you can use this granola for anything that you want. You can eat it as cereal because you can add any kind of toppings in it that you want. You can add it on top of your yogurt. You can use it on a smoothie bowl, which I'm going to show you next, but it's super simple. So as you can see, all I did was just spray the pan with some olive oil spray, and then I went ahead and started mixing up the ingredients. Now all you need are the oil of your choice, some honey, some oats, some cinnamon, and then anything else if you want to put some types of toppings in it. So you mix up those ingredients first, and then you just add in the oats and then mix it so that the liquid mixture is coating the oats. At this point, I decided that I wanted to add in some chia seeds, so I just sprinkled those after it was all mixed together. And then I also added in some coconut as well. And then once again, you're just going to kind of mix it to combine it all together. You want to make sure that that liquid, the moisture kind of gets all over everything, because that way, when you bake it in the oven, it's going to get so nice and crispy. Oh, it's so delicious. And it kind of forms little, like chunks of granola. So make sure you have everything evenly coated. You can see I added in a little bit of extra coconut here just because I felt like there wasn't enough. And then you mix it all together, and then you spread it on that pan that you've already sprayed with some type of, non-stick sprayer. You could even put some olive oil or coconut oil or something like that just directly on the sheet pan. Then just spread it out nice and evenly, but you want to make sure you kind of leave a few chunks like I was saying before. I like those big chunks of granola, so make sure there's some chunky bits, and then you're just going to bake it in the oven. I will have this recipe linked in the description box below, so halfway through the baking you want to go through and kind of mix it all up a little bit, make sure nothing's sticking to the pan, and then put it back in and bake it for a little while longer. And now here is that finished product. I'm trying to show you how you get kind of a little bit of chunk of granola as well as little pieces and all that. It's like the perfect texture. I love this recipe so much. I've used lots of other ones. This one is the best. Okay, smoothie bowl. This is something that I eat all the time. I love a good smoothie bowl, so I'm not going to go into my smoothie recipe, but if you want to see an example of the types of smoothies that we do, I would love to make a video all about different smoothies. So comment below and let me know if you'd like to see that video. So I start with just, I think this is some type of berry smoothie or something like that. And then all I do is I top it with some of the granola first. Then I add a little bit of coconut. Then I add some dried cranberry, but you can use whatever you want. You could use fresh fruits, fresh berries. I like to use pieces of apples. That's one of the things I love putting in my smoothie bowls, but I didn't do it here. And then I add some type of nut at the end. And that's it. That is all that I do. It is so incredibly simple, and you can keep all of these things on hand all the time. It is delicious and it's really nutritious, especially if you use some good, fresh, organic ingredients. So definitely try this one out. So this French toast I basically made up on the spot for my son Gregory, who cannot have wheat or dairy. All it has is 3 ingredients: this Canyon Bakehouse gluten-free bread, which is dairy, soy, and nut-free. It's a really, really delicious bread if you're looking for a good gluten and dairy-free bread. Then I just got some ground cinnamon and 2 eggs, and that's literally all that I needed besides some oil that I put into the pan. So I just scrambled up 2 eggs into this little bowl here so that I could dip the bread right into the eggs so that I could make the French toast. Now, because this is a slightly denser type of gluten-free bread, I did have to make sure to kind of soak the whole bread. If I were using just a regular store-bought loaf of wheat or white bread, I would not saturate it so much, but this definitely needs it. Then I just grabbed my organic coconut oil and I just threw some onto a warming pan, and I just kind of let that melt out. And once it was melted, I knew it was time to start making my French toast. And then all you do is just put it onto your oiled pan, and you can check the sides to make sure that they have browned. What I did was I sprinkled some cinnamon on top once it was all coated and on the pan. It made it really easy just to make sure it was kind of evenly distributed. But you can definitely skip this step if you don't want cinnamon French toast. And then all you do is just flip it over once the other side is browned. And then once it's done, all you do is cut it up, or, if you don't have little kids, you don't have to cut it up for your husband, but, just prepare it however you want. And I like to drizzle it with some maple syrup. You could also serve it with fresh fruit or butter if you like butter, powdered sugar. There's lots of options, but it is so simple and quick and easy. And like I said, you really only need the bread and the eggs to make this. You don't need anything else, and it's really delicious. Now, this next recipe, these egg bites are basically inspired by Starbucks' egg bites. They're really delicious, but they definitely take a little bit more time, and you may need to get some ingredients that you would not normally have on hand. But the great thing about these is that you can make them and then you can freeze them, and all you have to do is microwave them to heat them back up. So it's really easy if you make a bunch of these ahead of time. If you are making bacon, you'll have to prepare your bacon ahead of time. You need to cook it before you put it in the eggs. But then for the rest of the ingredients, you just put them into a blender or some type of mixer. I will have this recipe linked in the description box down below for you, so I'm not going to go into specifications or anything like that. You just mix all of the ingredients together. Now, I prefer to use a silicone baking pan just because it makes it really easy to pop them out once they have cooled. But if you don't have one, that's perfectly fine. You could even make these in little muffin or cupcake liners. That would work perfectly well. You just need something to be able to make them into this size. And then once they are all poured in, you're going to add in the bacon. Then you just bake it. They kind of get a little bit puffy and fluffy. They look so delicious. You can see I actually spilled it over as I was putting it into the oven, so it doesn't look as pretty as it should. But then you just let it cool for a while. Now, if you don't spill yours like I did, yours will actually end up looking a lot prettier than mine. They won't have that kind of strange edge, but my goodness, they are so delicious. Now, like I said earlier, the best part about these is that you can make ahead and then you can just freeze them. So you can put them in glass containers. You can put them in little baggies if that's what you have on hand, but 2 is a really good serving size. These are keto, they are low carb, and they're just really, really delicious. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more videos of different types of meals that I make, please let me know by clicking the like button, subscribing to my channel, and letting me know in the comments below what you would like to see. If you want to see a video all about the different smoothies that we make in our home, please let me know in the comments down below, or if there's any other things that you'd like to see, like lunches or dinners or things like that, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great day.